My name is Elizabeth Matrano. This is my creative critical reflection for my film opening, Beautifully Ugly. So the genre of the film is drama. Drama is a realistic situation as well as realistic characters are utilized. And one of the conventions that I had difficulty trying to incorporate, or I wasn't sure if I wanted to incorporate it, was the convention of a happy ending. And at first I didn't want a happy ending. I wanted to kind of challenge that part of the drama convention, which movies like Titanic did. But I decided that I wanted to keep the happy ending to show that even though the main character, Alice, struggled through her life, that she overcame this big obstacle, and she survived. So the idea to give hope to the audience was one of the main storylines or message that I wanted to incorporate in there. So basically, I got some of my ideas through YouTube, and one of the short films that I saw that I thought was very interesting was Beautiful. That film showed the dark side of beauty in society. So I kind of took some of that and also some personal experience with myself because I don't have perfect skin, and it's been like that for a while now. So it's kind of difficult to feel confident in who you are and around other people. So I took that also as part of my inspiration. Then I did some research, and most of the movies that I would find that talked about beauty or beauty standards were documentaries. And I didn't, since we weren't allowed to do documentaries, documentaries, I decided not to incorporate it as like examples in my research. So the one movie that I did find was American Beauty. I specified on one of the characters, and that character, she didn't like who she was, and that could be shown through the opening of the movie, in which she is researching about breast augmentation. So I kind of got some inspiration from that too. And then my target audience, since I am a teenager and I base my story on a teenager, my target audience would be teenagers between the ages of 13 and 24. And that doesn't necessarily mean that just teenagers are the ones who will see this film opening, or if the film continue to be created, then it doesn't necessarily mean only teenagers could see it. Since it is about a topic about mental illness, it provides, if any audience can see this film, and it provides awareness to the mental illness community. So target audience is my specific audience, but doesn't necessarily mean that other adults cannot see this film. That's not true. More people see it, the more awareness it creates for the mental illness community. According to a National Alliance Mental Illness, 1 in 5 children between the ages of 13 and 18 have or will have a mental illness in their lives. And you will notice that 20% of youth ages 13 through 18 live with a mental health condition. Approximately 50% of students ages 14 or older with a mental illness drop out of high school. 70% of youth in state and local juvenile justice systems have a mental illness, and suicide is the third largest cause of death in youth between the ages of 10 and 24. And I wanted to share that with you to create more awareness, which my point of the film opening is to create more awareness about the situation of mental illness in society and how we think that a broken mind is a broken person. Talk about a taboo topic, and the idea of talking about a taboo topic creates an awareness of people and stops the society and stops the world from being ignorant about a situation that is very important to understand. My story, I used some elements that are very important, which is the mirror, the low-key lighting, and the voiceover narration, which I wanted to include. The mirror for reasons that it's difficult for someone who doesn't like who they are to look at themselves in a mirror. The low-key lighting creates a sense of a tense and uncomfortable atmosphere, which most people find is true in the situation when talking about mental illness. And then the voiceover narration, I wanted to do something different. Instead of telling the story through Alice's point of view, I wanted to tell the story through her best friend's point of view, to show that we don't know what other people are going through. We don't know who they truly are. The idea that I will be talking and representing mental illness through the teens' perspectives allows for my target audience to be engaged in the film. And the film, as I said, will provide the voiceover narration, which is something different. The voiceover narration, the character will be included in the film, will introduce Alice as a character and herself as a character. It won't say her name to make it more suspenseful in a way. And then, the idea was also to create a tense and uncomfortable atmosphere in the characters as well as the entire film. So that was one of the main ideas, because as I mentioned before, mental illness is something that most people feel uncomfortable talking about. So bringing that in will kind of make the audience realize that, this is a topic that shouldn't be uncomfortable, that everyone should be talking about. It's an important topic to talk about. So that was the main point of doing this. And the main reason I did teenagers as my target audience is because, as well as it was teenagers understand other teenagers. So that was also an important element for me to talk about, that I can relate to them and they can relate to me. So that was one of the other reasons why I chose teenagers as my target audience. And I will most likely be distributing this film through YouTube, since YouTube was the first thing I went to look for inspiration. And as a platform where all content creators are allowed to express what they feel, their passions, their pains, their achievements. And it's a platform that isn't just focused on teens, but it's also focused on other target audiences. So that was the main point there, that even though my target audience is teens, I could still bring other target audiences to create more awareness to mental illness. And after the distribution through YouTube, I would also go through film festivals, but that would be my second option. Teens tend to use YouTube often, and they spend more time on YouTube or on free online videos. Teens between the ages of 13 and 24 spend 11.3 hours weekly watching free online videos, compared to 8.3 who spend watching television. Or what I use for production is my Nikon D3400, something like this. And I also used my Polaroid tripod. I didn't use it all the time because I had difficulty. This part is kind of crooked, so I had difficulty, but I got to use it in some of my shots in the film opening. And I also, when I wanted to edit, I had problems with my computer. And I had iMovie, but it was the other version, so the late version, and it was not working. Viewing screen was not working for my computers, so I called my cousin, and it took us 3 hours to kind of fix the computer, make it faster to allow for iMovie to open. So instead of updating iMovie, we had to delete it multiple times and then reinstall it, and it got to a newer version which allowed me to edit the videos. So iMovie, I used Google Blogger, which was easier than I thought to use. I also use Google Docs, and the reason why I use Google Docs is I like to write everything before I insert it into Google Blogger. That's just my preference. So through iMovie, since I am a beginner, this is my biggest project I've ever done, first project I've edited that includes music and voiceovers and the actual video. So that was big for me. I learned how to do the splitting the clips with the command B and color correct using other frames. So, because some of my shots were from different colors due to lighting, so I was allowed to grab the color corrector and grab one frame and use that color from that frame to use it to the other frame. So I thought that was very cool. It's something that I've never knew you could do. I did slow down my clips to make it flow with the music, and this was my second choice of music. My first one, I was gonna do it, but the person never responded, so I was like, I'll just do this music, and it still fits well. I really did like it. I learned to incorporate the voiceover and the music together. So voiceover, I use voice memo on my iPhone, and as I mentioned before, I use Google Blogger and Google Docs, and as well as YouTube to create allow for to insert my film on YouTube, and as well as look for examples. I also to watch American Beauty, I used Amazon Prime. For the lighting part, I had to close my windows and I used only one lamp, and I put the lamp behind the mirror, so it wouldn't allow a lot of light to get in my shots. So that's what I did. I did learn a lot in this project with timing, that I need to be better at scheduling and following the schedule, but not everything goes to plan. So I hope you enjoyed this creative critical reflection about Beautifully Ugly, and thank you for watching.